Right, well. Why? What the fuck? Are you guys hearing an ear-piercing noise right now? I had to mute the computer. I don't know what the hell that was. I had to download this new software to fucking uh just so I could fucking do a live stream, even though I didn't need it before. YouTube changed it or some fucking thing. I don't know what's going on here. Okay, can you hear my voice? All right, please say something. I don't know. Hold on, hang on. All right, you can hear me. Okay, good. I'll just post the link and then we'll get started. Hang on. Sorry for all the confusion here. YouTube went and changed everything on me. Okay. All right. Jesus Christ. I've had a really frustrating couple of days. You don't even know. And I'm going to have another frustrating week or 2 or 3 weeks, depending on how the next few days play out. I'm really busy right now. It's why we're doing the video like this instead of why we're doing a live stream instead of the actual review video. And I was this close to trying to find a way to do the video anyway, even though I really, really don't have time to do it this week. So I figured I would just go without sleep and try to do it that way. But yeah. So some of you may have heard the very late last minute video that I put up a couple hours ago saying that I was going to do the Turning Point review as a live stream instead of the usual video because I just didn't think I was going to have time to make a regular video this week. Just a lot of stuff going on right now, and oh, are you kidding me? Just bear with me, guys, 1 second. You know, just regular real life stuff happens sometimes, and I'm just going through a busy period. I didn't think I'd have time to do it. The thing about that is, nobody really knows this, but I actually put a lot more time and work into these videos than you might think. Yeah, I lost my place here all of a sudden. You know, okay. So the way I do it is I make a lot of notes on the show to myself, and then I try to organize everything, get my thoughts in order, kind of plan out what I'm going to say, and then I'll spend maybe an hour or more shooting the video, doing multiple retakes of various parts till I get it the way I want it. Then I'll take the photo booth image of myself laid over the picture of something that happened on the show for the title screen, which hardly ever happens right away. Sometimes it takes a while to get that right. Then I have to edit everything, which can take up to 2 hours, depending on the length of the video, occasionally longer than that. Excuse me. The end result is, in my opinion, a good review video that looks fairly polished, but going through that eats up a lot of my time. I do it because I like my videos to look at least somewhat professional, despite my general demeanor and appearance right now. But I just don't have that time to spare this week. I got a lot of stuff on my plate at the moment that, a lot of things that kind of need to be prioritized over making YouTube wrestling videos. I expect to have very little free time in the next several days to several weeks, and that's just how it goes sometimes. You get busy, and you can only do so much in one day. That's why this live stream will be the Turning Point review, and why I may have to do a live stream review for the show next week and maybe the week after. I don't know yet. It'll all depend on how things shake out. But yeah, I'm going to be really busy and probably not sleeping very much for the next 4 or 5 days at least. So I figured YouTube stuff was going to have to take a back seat. I figured this would suffice. I'm sorry if you're not happy about it. I'm not particularly happy about it, but that's just what we have to do sometimes. So, Turning Point. Let's talk about this for a little while. And I can't go too late because I've got some work to do that I need to get finished tonight. Anywho, anyway, so this is where we kind of sort of move to the next stage in this global force wrestling interpromotional angle. Dixie has made Jeff Jarrett temporarily the Impact Authority figure. For some reason, I'm not sure why she thought Impact needed one. It didn't have one for most of this year, and it seemed to run itself just fine. But after Bully Ray was mysteriously taken out backstage by an unknown assailant, Jeff Jarrett wasted absolutely zero time in running to Dixie and kind of picking the bones of that carcass and getting himself installed. as the temporary authority figure, after which time he was even quicker in bringing in his GFW talent so he can turn Impact Wrestling into Global Force Impact. This doesn't seem to bother Dixie Carter or seem suspicious to her in any way. I'm not sure why. But yeah, that continues this week. First thing that happens is the Jarretts come out, and Jeff cuts pretty much the most suspicious, self-serving promo you've ever heard in your life. GFW this, GFW that, GFW is the greatest thing ever, GFW is all about making history, blah, 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 blah. It goes about like you would expect. Thankfully, EC3 puts a stop to this, or at least he tries to. He comes out here, and thankfully, at least someone here has a problem with the TNA World Champion having to defend the TNA World title against a Global Force Wrestling star. At least somebody thinks there's not something not quite kosher about all this. Karen! Christ. Karen gets in EC3's face, and she tries to turn all this back on EC3. She says, well, who would stand to gain from attacking Bully Ray and Drew Galloway? You know, it's funny she should say so. It's funny she should mention that, because GFW are the ones who keep gaining from all that stuff. They're the ones who have been reaping the benefits from those misfortunes that TNA personnel have been enduring. Nobody thinks about... nobody feels like bringing that up. Nobody thinks that's worth mentioning for some reason. Even EC3 doesn't go so far as to mention that. Why is nobody on the show talking about this? There's a 10,000-pound elephant in the room, and none of them are even looking at it. I don't... Don't get me started. None of them are suspicious about that at all. Either because this storyline is being intentionally written poorly, or because the writers just like have an agenda against Dixie Carter and have made it their mission to make her look as stupid as possible. Neither one would surprise me at this point. So, anyway, Jarrett says that, EC3 is going to defend the title against PJ, Don't Call Me Justin Gabriel Black, and if he doesn't, he's going to talk to the powers that be in TNA management about getting EC3 stripped of the title. Should we be surprised that Dixie Carter gave him that kind of authority? That he could make threats like that? Because the fact that he's doing it is just... How can she not see the wheels in motion here? How can Dixie not understand what he's trying to do? Right in front of her face, and she doesn't see it. Make yourself crazy trying to figure this stuff out. From there, we go to Bram versus Ken Anderson in an open mic challenge match. I had no idea what an open mic challenge match was, because TNA did not bother to tell us what an open mic challenge match was before the match started. Sorry, I'm just changing something here. But apparently, an open mic challenge match is basically a microphone on a pole match without the pole. I guess so they don't have to pay Vince Russo royalties or something. It's minus the strange gimmick. It's actually a good match. There were some cool bumps in here. I appreciated the effort of both guys. Of course, it felt too short. They could have added another couple of minutes to that easy. And the story is really questionable here. I thought the point of this angle was for Bram to kind of drag Anderson into his world and force Anderson to go to a really dark and violent place to bring out a different side of Anderson. And that did happen, but how it happened, I'm not entirely sure. last time they faced each other, they had a normal match, which Anderson won. And then Bram hit Anderson with a microphone one time, just one time, and that's really nothing out of the ordinary. That's nothing like a regular everyday heel wouldn't do. That's pretty tame stuff for an angle like this, for a storyline that like this that you're telling. And it was certainly nothing that you would think would push Anderson to go to a dark and violent place. He might get a little pissed off about it, maybe, but it's nothing out of the ordinary, really. And yet somehow that buildup gets us to an open mic challenge match where they're doing their finishers off the ring apron through a table, power bombs on a pile of steel chairs. Didn't we skip a few steps here? It's like we went from point B to point D and skipped over point C somehow. It feels like there was a lot of build-up missing from this. Oh, and Anderson won the match again. Yeah, that's twice in a row now that he's beaten Bram. So I don't really see any reason to continue this feud now. If the point here was to put over Bram as a really dangerous guy or give him some kind of a rub and kind of push him up the ladder a little bit, I think it failed. They had this admittedly compelling build-up at times. They had some interesting some interviews and promos and video packages that kind of did a better job selling this than the storytellers themselves did. By that I mean the writers, not the wrestlers. This felt like it really haphazardly thrown together. It's like they had a good idea, but the execution was like so spotty that it feels like the angle's done, but they skipped over so many parts. It's like I wonder why they even bothered with it, quite frankly. After that, we go to James Storm promo. He calls out Mahabali Shera. It's not Koya anymore. So speaking of haphazardly thrown together storylines, he's reading Shera the Riot Act. He's trying to get him back in the Revolution. Wants him to extend his middle finger in the air, and Shera's not having any of it. He says, Storm, you never did anything for me. Which is pretty accurate. Storm was talking before Shera came out about how he gave the guys in the Revolution like everything they wanted or everything that was in their heart's desire or something like that. How? What did he do for them? I think he was sharing the tag team championships with Abyss at one point. But what has he really done for these guys? He hasn't done anything for them, really. Mostly they've stood in the background while Storm talked. I mean the Revolution, the whole Revolution concept I thought was pretty compelling. It did have a lot of potential when it started, but then it just sort of they kind of lost focus on it, and it just turned into Storm standing in front of a bunch of jobbers. Oh, one thing I thought about here. When he told Mahabali Shera to put his index finger in the air again. Imagine if instead of raising the index finger, Shera, or instead of cutting that promo that he cut, Shera had just raised his middle finger. A la Fuck the Police in Straight Outta Compton. Good movie, by the way. Would have been a topical thing to do. Nice little, clever little pop culture reference there. Thought that would have been nice. But anyway, they don't do that. Shera basically just, tells Storm to step off in his own way. Uh, Still kind of working on improving his English language skills there. Um, he's trying though. The guy does seem to have some charisma. I think Shera makes a good project for TNA. He doesn't seem untalented, and he did that Shera dance thing, and the people in the Impact Zone seemed receptive to it. It got seemed to get over a little bit, and hey, I took that as a positive sign. Um, so I thought Shera did well for himself here. Of course, then the Revolution take him out. Um, they all gang up on him. Manic, they do this thing where Manic is hesitant to attack Shera because apparently him and Shera are friends. I seem to remember them touching on that a little bit back when Shera first joined the Revolution, however many months ago that was. Um, but they never focused on it. I mean, they kind of they touched on it like once, twice, maybe three times, and then nothing ever happened with that again. And if those two had any kind of lingering connection, it wasn't mentioned or focused upon whatsoever. No one even brought it up. They haven't done anything with that in a long time now. They haven't mentioned that in who knows how long. And yet all of a sudden that's supposed to be a thing again? This entire storyline feels rushed and sloppy, and it's really hard to care in the first place when we know that James Storm already left the company weeks ago. I thought it was rushed and poorly executed the last time they touched on this storyline, and that hasn't changed. If anything, it's more rushed and sloppier. From there, we go to Gail Kim versus the Dollhouse members Jade and Marty in a handicap 6 sides of steel cage match. So you got Gail Kim, who's been in TNA for like a decade. Yeah, there was a period where she left, but basically, she's been there since before the division started. It's been a fucking decade, more or less. Versus the two new knockouts, who you're still trying to establish as a credible as credible contenders, who we're kind of leaning heavily on to refresh the knockout division and make and inject some new life into it. So not shockingly, Gail Kim wins. As much as the Divas Revolution thing in WWE right now is really just a bunch of bullshit, smoke and mirrors, and creatively bankrupt, at least their three new divas, Sasha Banks, Charlotte, Becky Lynch, are being protected and have been made to look credible and strong in the ring against the Diva stalwarts, and have been getting put over on a regular basis. I had hoped that TNA, the company that boasts about how great their women's division is, would at least be able to do that much with Jade and Marty here. Or with Jade and Marty in general. But I don't know what the hell you call this. I mean, look, I'll give Gail props. She did some impressive stuff here. There were some cool spots in here, but I mean, did Gail really need this? No, she didn't. And the win would have really done something for Jade and Marty. Would it really have been such a crime if they had beaten Gail in a 2-on-1 situation? Gail would lose nothing. Jade and Marty would gain something. If Gail had to win, couldn't it at least have been because Teran tried to interfere and the interference backfired somehow, and which led to Gail getting the surprise pin after Jade and Marty had been kicking her ass because they had the numbers advantage the entire time. So couldn't it have happened in a way that at least gave Jade and Marty an excuse for losing? Maybe it would have felt like some kind of crime to the writers. I don't know. I'll never understand why they do this. It's like they're so unbelievably paranoid about changing the knockout status quo in any significant way. To the point where it's 2015 and we've still got the same woman on top who was on top in back when the division started in 2007. It's the same woman on top. All I want them to do is think about the future of the knockout division. Try to plan for the future so they don't run into the same damn problem that they had not that long ago when they were basically forced to kind of rebuild the division from the bottom up. I just want them to anticipate that problem and head it off before it becomes a problem again. And that starts with not keeping the same women in the same spots all the time. Gail beating Jade and Marty 2-on-1 in a steel cage match accomplishes nothing. It's counterproductive. I don't understand why they can't see that. So after this, we have a backstage pre-tape where Jeff Jarrett has now convinced Dixie Carter to force EC3 to defend his title against PJ Black or be stripped of the title. It didn't seem like he had to try that hard to convince her either. You know, at this point, Dixie Carter is looking so fucking gullible. It's downright cartoonish. Cartoonish! She's like a blind person who is trusting somebody to give her directions, and that person deliberately walks her into a wall just because they can. Just for a good laugh. Because they knew she would fall for it. That's honestly what this seems like. They did Drew Galloway versus Eli Drake in a no DQ match. I did not know this was a no DQ match. I don't recall TNA announcing that beforehand. If they made any kind of announcement about that, I missed it. So good job on getting the word out about that, TNA. You know what? This was a good match. I really like the finish a lot. Going off the top turnbuckle through the table. Really cool finish. No complaints about the match. I would have preferred that Eli Drake go over, but hey, at least he won the first match they had. That's something. It kind of seems like the feud is done now. I really thought they could have made more out of that. I thought more could have been done with Eli Drake in the feud. So that's a little disappointing. Ooh, speaking of disappointing stuff, Velvet Sky. Velvet Sky's back. Cool segue, huh? Velvet Sky shows up backstage because Terrell has turned into a chicken shit, unfortunately, and she's running away from Gail. And Velvet Sky confronts her backstage for some reason. I don't know why. So she helps Gail corner Teran back there, and then Velvet's still trying to act like a badass for some reason, and she tells the cameraman to get lost. It's still just as stupid as it was when she showed up in the crowd. Velvet Sky is not a badass. She's never been a badass. She's never going to be a badass. It's just silly watching her try to pull this off. I don't know why they thought this would be a good idea. And why is Velvet doing this? Why is she in this spot? Why is Velvet Sky helping Gail Kim hunt down Terrell when logically it should be Brooke doing that? Brooke, who was feuding with Teran just recently. Brooke, who had a lot of build-up feuding with the Dollhouse. Build-up to Brooke winning the Knockouts title from Terrell. Why is Brooke not doing this with Gail? Why is it Velvet Sky? What storyline reason is there for Velvet to be helping Gail against Teran all of a sudden? What kind of sense does this make? This is stupid. Why is it Velvet? Why isn't it Brooke doing this? Oh yeah, Brooke, the Knockouts champion? Not even on this show, by the way. Interesting. Oh, boy. So this Eric Young, Chris Melendez stuff is still not done, huh? Wow. And Melendez is still waiting on that charisma transplant. Those mic skills are still a work in progress. Very much a work in progress. And wouldn't you love to have been a fly on the wall in the writer's room when someone, in their infinite wisdom, suggested that they book Eric Young versus Chris Melendez, fighting for Melendez's artificial leg? Yeah, they're going to do one more match with Melendez's artificial leg on the line. Wow. Just when I thought I couldn't not care about this feud anymore. Really? Really? I kind of thought TNA would want to avoid making their one-legged war hero publicity stunt signing look like a big fucking joke, but no, now they're having a match over his artificial leg. Congrats, TNA. You really knocked this feud out of the park. So, yeah, I have not enjoyed this feud. I don't care about this feud, and this is kind of pushing me further along that path. It really is. But it's not like Melendez has been anything impressive so far, so it doesn't feel like a loss of a good angle or a good performer, really. It just feels like a waste of time. And now it's going to feel like an even bigger waste of time. Matt Hardy versus Tyrus. Because Matt is still going after the TNA World title. I'm not exactly sure where that's heading. I don't expect them to put the world title on Matt Hardy. I would hope that they wouldn't. You know, God bless Matt. I just don't see him as being the guy. It kind of just feels like a distraction or something to tide EC3 over until another, like a bigger feud comes along or something. I don't know. But anyway, Matt Hardy versus Tyrus. Basically a squash for Matt. And with that, I have no problem because Tyrus sucks. Then EC3 blindsides Matt. And then Matt just sort of disappears. Anyway, so EC3 is all fired up. And he says that he'll face PJ Black, goddammit. Here's my question. Why was this business, this question of whether or not EC3 would agree to face PJ Black even a thing at all? Why were they trying to make something out of that? Why were they asking this question, trying to make us wonder about this, when he would be stripped of the title if he didn't face the guy? Who would choose not to take the match in that case? Were they suggesting that EC3 was maybe too scared of PJ Black to take the match or something? Because that doesn't make sense. It's not like PJ Black is some legendary ass kicker or something. I mean, sure, he's the King of the Mountain champion, but... Yeah, because being the King of the Mountain champion is some huge accolade, isn't it? The whole thing came off like a half-assed attempt at suspense that really didn't hold water at all. I don't know why they portrayed it this way. I don't know. I think EC3 would not want to face PJ Black because he thinks it's bullshit that a GFW star is getting a shot at the TNA World Heavyweight title, and that would make sense. That would be a legitimately good reason to not want to face PJ Black. But anyway, the match happens. And please explain something to me, okay? Why is it that the only person on this fucking show who seems to have a problem with a GFW wrestler getting a shot at the TNA World Championship, getting a chance to steal TNA's world title for another company, is the top heel in TNA? Their number one bad guy is the only person who sees something wrong about this situation. That's how fucked up this storyline is. EC3 is the only one with a fucking brain on this entire show. Anyway, it's actually a really good match. A really solid main event. I enjoyed this. I enjoyed watching EC3 sacrifice PJ Black on his altar of perfection. I just hated the creatively fucked up way they got there. But yeah, really good match. And then, oh boy, and then, backstage, Jeff Jarrett plays his hand. Finally, he wants Dixie to let him run Impact on a permanent basis. Because he's done such a great job, such a stellar job of running Impact these last 2 weeks. What with bringing in talent from another company, taking TV spots away from Dixie's talent, pimping his own guys all over the show, putting them in very suspicious matchups against TNA stars and title holders in critical positions, getting one of his own stars a shot at TNA's world title. He's done such a great job doing all that. Dixie says she feels good about this idea. Even though Jeff couldn't be acting more suspicious if he were twirling a giant handlebar mustache. Dixie feels good about this. I wonder if Dixie would feel good about it if Jarrett punched her in the face. I wonder if she would feel good about it if Jarrett told her that he had a bridge in Brooklyn that he would like to sell her. I wonder if Dixie would feel good about it if Jarrett, I don't know, conned her into signing TNA over to him so he could turn the show into Global Force Impact. Change the logo and everything. I'm not being sarcastic here. It honestly feels like that's the direction they're going in. I mean, Jesus Christ. Dixie has been written to be so freaking gullible in this angle already, it's hard to believe that she wouldn't fall for that at this point. Now, I thought I saw a tiny, just a little bit, just a tiny glimmer of suspicion on her face at the end there. So we'll see if that leads to anything. But quite frankly, they've already done so much to throw Dixie under the bus. It's hard to imagine her saving face even remotely at this point. Much like last week, Turning Point was a good wrestling show, but creatively this was all kinds of fucked up. It really does seem like the people in charge of booking this whole GFW invasion thing have some kind of anti-Dixie Carter agenda. It's seeming like that more and more. I don't understand how she could possibly not suspect that something is up. Not see what the Jarretts are doing right in front of her face. They couldn't be more obvious about it. It's making her look like such a fucking fool. I don't understand why she would sign off on this. This is really frustrating. Creatively, this show is full of holes. It's just... It's really frustrating to the point where I can't even articulate myself properly anymore. It's hard to watch in the sense that I just want to grab the people writing this show and shake them and tell them to just write characters that have a brain. One of my biggest pet peeves in television, movies, wrestling, whatever, is when characters do stupid things just to advance the plot. And that's full of stuff. This show is full of stuff like that. I just want Dixie Carter to act like she has a brain. You don't even need to be that smart to see what's happening here. Just look at the clues in front of your face and see that the Jarretts are up to something. They are facilitating a GFW invasion right in front of your face and you don't see it. Just use your fucking brain, Dixie. It's not that hard. For God's sake. You know what? I've gone on about this long enough. I actually have some work to do that I need to get done before I go to sleep, and I have to be up early tomorrow. So I'm going to go through this chat room really quickly to see if there's anything that you guys want me to talk about here, and then we're gonna wrap this up because I don't have a whole lot of time, and I have some important stuff I need to do. Yeah, there was that weird noise playing. I don't know what that is. They made me download some new software to get the stream going, and that happened when I booted it up. I don't know what happened there. I'm gonna try to figure out what that is. Yeah, it's not playing anymore. I muted it on my computer, so hopefully it won't be a problem. Okay. Yep. Okay, well, we got no comments, but we got the chat room back. Let's see. That gaming asshole, can you still use Hangouts or will future live streams have a chat too? I don't know. YouTube just went and changed the whole live streaming format on me, so I'm going to have to figure out how this works now. So I will get back to you on that. Lucky STR8. Hey FK, you look like PJ Black. I could swear you were just wrestling for the world title. I guess I kind of have similar hair right now. I wouldn't get used to that. I'm beginning to get hair in my mouth when I wake up in the morning, so I'm thinking it's that the time is coming to chop this mop of hair off. So I think that time is coming. Wizard 66. EC3 was the hero this week. Yeah, he was. Hey, we don't even have to joke about that. That's exactly what he was. He was the only one who saw something wrong with this situation of the Jarretts making him face GFW's PJ Black. The only one who thought there was something off or wrong about a TNA star defending the title against a guy from another company, giving a guy from another company a chance to take the world title away. The only guy who thought there was something wrong with this. And he's supposed to be the heel. Theo Clardy, because dumbass Dixie is pretty dumbass. You would have a tough time arguing against that at this point. Ivory 91, maybe she hit her head too hard on the table back in the day. Maybe. Whole World. Who do you think should replace Gail as the new centerpiece of the Knockouts? Right now, I think it would be between Teran and Brooke. I think they're the best candidates for the job at this point. However, I think there are probably more appropriate candidates out there if you're looking for someone to take Gail's place, you know, as like the spearhead or the workhorse or whatever. I thought Kaylee Ray could have been that person if they'd bothered to sign her after British Boot Camp 2. And she might wind up in there eventually. I thought they were dumb not to bring her in after that show, though. But if there is an ideal candidate out there, I think that person should be working for TNA right now, getting cultivated to take Gail's place once the time comes. Once the day comes that Gail is not around anymore. But as we've discussed earlier, TNA seem to have a problem building for the future when it comes to the Knockout division. I don't know why. They want to keep the status quo in place as much as they can for as long as they can, and it's becoming very counterproductive. I don't get it. Wizard 66. Okay, we're just gonna have to blow through these real fast, guys, because I need to get some work done here. Not sure if there needs to be a centerpiece. I love Gail, but she's starting to be booked like Cena, as in her destroying the push of the new girls. 100% agree. Is there a reason why you're going to be busy for the next couple weeks due to the fact that you're suing TNA for stealing your TKO idea? Well, maybe I could do that. No, it's the reason I'm going to be busy is unrelated to that. It's just real life stuff. I don't want to elaborate just for personal reasons, but yeah, I'm just going to be busy with a lot of unrelated stuff. Lucky STR8, does it feel like TNA is on autopilot and they push storylines from 1 to 100 without any explanation? Yeah, it does. I think the act of how do I say this? The process of taping so much TV all at once, I think, is really hurting them. I think it may save them money, but it's really affecting the quality of the storytelling. And if I think somewhere along the line, a lot of the finer details get lost or end up taking a backseat just due to the sheer volume of stuff that they have to shoot in a very short time. And I think it may be a financial necessity, but the show is suffering for it. The TNA writers did not do Bram and Anderson any favors. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. I think Bram and Anderson did a good job of rising above the poor writing in this match. But again, was too short, and the build-up was shoddy. I wonder if Bram had to re-sign to get that match with Anderson. Quite possibly. I mean, he signs a multi-year deal every couple of weeks, it seems like. Duke Nukem 3DO, can you cut your hair, please? Yeah, probably pretty soon. Okay, your mane is majestic, never cut it. Thank you. I've enjoyed this long hair experiment, but I do think the time is coming. I heard Bram, UCD3AD, I heard Bram needs to re-sign with TNA every time he wants to go to catering. Possibly. Kayri420, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. Fool Killer needs to go to the chat to show comments while he's streaming. Comments don't show up in the chat room. Yeah, they wouldn't change the whole live streaming process on me. It's different now. I will look into it. That's all I can say right now. The Scrabble King, how are we supposed to care about Marty and Jade versus Gail when we just saw Gail versus the entire Dollhouse and the Dollhouse lost cleanly? Exactly. As an add-on to that, how are we supposed to care about Gail versus Jade and Marty when we already saw her beat the shit out of them in a steel cage quite easily? It was just a brawl, it wasn't a match, but she still, handed them their asses. Granted, they were more competitive this time, but the outcome was the same. It's the John Cena effect. It's the Undertaker effect. Yeah, there comes a point where you're putting Gail over so much that it just becomes detrimental to everybody else. And when that comes at the expense of the two newest girls you have, who should be getting protected, I can't support it. It's just dumb. It's just a poor booking decision. It's a poor strategy to take. Unless Gail is going to somehow be there forever, somehow going to be a great wrestler forever, somehow going to stay in her physical prime forever, which she's not. You got to start looking toward the future, but they're not doing it. TNA be like, we have to put Gail over because we had her dressed as the Undertaker. Woman on top. Okay, I gotta start, guys. I gotta start moving through this stuff faster because I gotta get to work. All right, I'm gonna have to skip over some of these. I apologize, but I really am pressed for time. Oh, combo wumbo, beautiful Maestro Beautiful People version 5.0. Oh god, don't even joke about that. Don't even joke about that. Don't give them any ideas. Whole World, where is Brooke? You know, the Knockouts champion? Good question. I'm wondering that myself. Deontay 320. Speaking of which, Velvet is facing Brooke for the title next week. Oh, Christ. Well, they've pretty much they've pretty much done their best to undermine all the good heels they had in the knockout division. So I guess the only recourse is for Brooke to start facing the baby faces. They need more knockouts. Why Velvet is even getting within 100 yards of a championship match? I just for Christ's sake. They need a deeper women's roster. Stay clean. To save me one, we have to face the facts. Gail is going to get the John Cena treatment at TNA until she decides to retire. Yep. There was a time when I was willing to put up with that, you know, because she did perform so well in the ring. But I can't support it anymore. I can't put up with it anymore. Not when them doing that is hurting them so much and they can't even see it. They're kind of holding the division back at this point. I mean, Gail still performs very well in the ring, but Jesus Christ. You know, what are you going to do when the day comes that she leaves? It doesn't seem like they're planning for that day at all. I think you're looking at it wrong. I think that GFW doesn't exist. It's a work invasion like NWO was. They pretend they're being invaded by outsiders. Well, it might as well not exist. I mean, it's not like they have a TV deal or anything. Dixie, Deontay 320, Dixie hasn't learned from Immortal, the Aces and Eights, etc. Exactly! She's making the same mistakes over and over again, and she never learns anything. It's one of the problems I keep having with this character. Maestro, Dixie felt good about Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff. Yeah, exactly. It's basically Immortal all over again. Just with a different coat of paint. At least Dixie is consistent. She falls for these tricks for years. I have a bad... Oh, damn it. I have a bad feeling that might have been a writing Teran off segment. I really hope I'm wrong, though. I think Bob Ryder said on Twitter a little while ago that she was signed through like March or something. I'm pretty sure her contract runs into next year. Don't quote me on that though. I'm pretty sure she's sticking around at least for the near future though. But yeah, really dumb portraying her like this. I don't know what they're thinking. I gotta start skipping over some of these. Dixie may not be looking bright, but outside of PJ Black winning the King of the Mountain Championship, TNA has just been kicking the hell out of GFW the past 2 weeks. Granted, they have been winning the matches, but meanwhile, in the background, the Jarretts have continued to kind of sink their hooks into Dixie and kind of ingratiating themselves to her, and she's been basically letting them do whatever they want. I mean, she's given them more and more power than any sane person would give Jarrett based on considering his history. And now, he's this close to getting installed as the permanent Impact Authority figure. And once that happens, you know, God only knows what he'll have the power to do. Who from GFW do you want to see in TNA? Oh, Christ, I don't even know who there was on their roster, really. I haven't looked at their website recently. I know Cherry Bomb is in there. I think Candice LeRae is doing... I think Candice LeRae is booked for their TV tapings, their next ones. So those would be really cool. I'd love if they could be used. Not sure why GFW was running another set of TV tapings when they must be optimistic about getting a TV deal somewhere. They don't have one yet, so running more TV tapings seems kind of pointless right now. Boy. The sad thing is Jade has all the tools to be a big star if TNA used her right and not just as a stepping stone for Gail. I agree. I like Jade a lot. I think the mic skills could use a teensy bit of work, but I think she's got all the raw material. She could be a star for them if they used her right. I agree with that. Oh boy. Have you seen Ant-Man? Yeah, really enjoyed it. Any recent Marvel movies? Yeah, I see all the Marvel movies. Yeah. Fantastic Four does not count as a Marvel movie, although I did see that, unfortunately. Thoughts about the Bobby Roode backstage segment? I like that there's... I think that Bobby Roode seems... He suspects Jarrett is up to something or has some kind of agenda, even if it's not the real one. Even if it's not the staging an invasion angle. I think he suspects that there's something up or something not right about it, so I think they're making an effort to show that Roode has not completely fallen under the spell that Dixie has. So that's something. Big fan. Thank you. This guy getting a title shot out of thin air. What do you think my thoughts on that are? The Save Me one, they may be setting up for a Rebel push soon. I heard about that. I heard that Teran might have some kind of injury. I don't know. So maybe they had to reshuffle the deck with that. I don't hate Rebel. I don't think she's untalented. Her problem is just that she's really green. And at her age, she's going to have a limited shelf life as a wrestler. Yeah, but, she could improve, I suppose. I can see Velvet getting screwed by the Dollhouse next week. Can see it a mile away. Yeah, quite possibly. Kind of put Brooke in a weird position, though. She shouldn't need help from the heels to beat Velvet. Crying out loud. Is Jeff Jarrett really using TNA to promote GFW? Dude, that's all he's doing right now. He has turned Impact into a GFW infomercial. Have you not been watching? Is GFW already making a mistake taping so far ahead just like TNA? It does seem confusing. I'm not sure what their MO is and all that. Maybe they want to have a certain number of shows in the can to try to sell it to networks. I would think that the one set of TV tapings might be enough. Maybe they think they can do better or produce them better or something like that. Maybe they want to have a certain number of storylines completed to show that they can do storytelling. I don't know. I really don't know. You'd have to ask them, really. It's confusing to me. Where are you reading these questions from? The chat room. Everybody... Oh, yeah, there's a chat room now. It should be on the right-hand side of your screen. If you're not seeing it, I'm not sure why. Because they went and changed all this on me. Deontay 320, everybody is seeing through Jeff Jarrett except the owner of the company. Yeah, I mean, they're making Dixie Carter the patsy here. Well, maybe that's not the right word. But she's the real victim in all this. She's not being made to look good at all. She's this gullible idiot who's falling for everything they're doing. When a blind man could see that they're trying to screw her over. I don't see what could possibly be gained from this. You're just making the owner of the company look bad. For what? Makes no sense to me. Okay, guys, this is going to have to be the end of it. I'm sorry, I really need to get to work. Eric Rodriguez, you're the best. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching. Appreciate that. HBE Hain 4441. Other than James Storm leaving, I hear Abyss has also left the company. Is there any truth to that? The Abyss thing, that's news to me. I didn't hear about that. Possibly. Who knows? Seems like a lot of the longtime people are leaving. Because I guess they wanted to eliminate a lot of all the big contracts they could. It doesn't necessarily mean he's gone or he won't be there. It just means they might want to put him on a paper appearance deal. I don't know. If there's any truth to the Abyss thing, I haven't heard about that. Whole World, do you watch Lucha Underground? No, I haven't seen it. I saw a little bit of it. I credit them for having some really innovative production techniques as far as like producing it. It feels more like a TV show than a wrestling show. I don't know if it was necessarily for me, but I do appreciate that they're at least trying to find new ways to present a pro wrestling product. Because Lord knows we're not getting enough of that with the big companies right now. So I appreciate the effort, even though it's not necessarily to my tastes. But yeah, I've seen just a little bit of it. And last one, Eric Rodriguez. Shout out, please. All right, shout out to Eric Rodriguez. And last one, and then I gotta end this, guys. UCD3AD is the reason why you're going to be too busy for the next couple of weeks to do. Oh, it's that one again. Okay, well, all right, my bad. Thanks for joining me tonight. I'm sorry for the confusion afterward. They changed all the live stream stuff on me, so I had to download some stuff and figure some things out. And yeah. So hopefully, if I have to do this again next week instead of doing a normal review, there will be less confusion there. I will try to work on getting this up faster, and I'll try to figure out what that noise was in the beginning, and I'll see if I can get the comment section back. I would like a comment section and a chat room. So I will work on those things. Until then, I will talk to you later. I've got work to do. We'll see you next week. If there's any announcements to be made about the live stream or the video or whatever the case might be, I will post some kind of update video. Or just watch my Twitter for updates. I'm at TheRealFK9. That's all for now. Over. Out. And I don't... How the hell do you even turn this off now? Christ. Oh, God. You went and changed everything on me, damn it. Really? Boy, how pathetic is this? I can't even figure out how to turn the damn stream off now. Aha!